Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Artist and the Thinker podcast. I am the artist.
And I am Terrence B. the Thinker.
And man, oh man, de- well, almost said December. This February has been a crazy February, ups and downs. And one of the highlights that aren't so dark and sinister, well, I take that back. It does have its dark points, is the recent documentary that was released by Netflix called Reality Check, basically about America's Next Top Model. And if you are a millennial like me and Terrence, you definitely know America's Next Top Model. And I mean, it spanned, I think, 24 seasons.
Mhm.
And it was very telling. It was extremely telling. And of course, a lot of things we look at different as we age. Sometimes that type of media doesn't age well, and a lot of it did not. Um, it really revealed Tyra's character, and the type of person that she is. Because listening to a lot of those girls speak, and it was a handful. That's the thing. It was a handful of them, but listening to them, it showed that they went through a lot of traumatizing things on that show. There's no getting around it. You listen to one girl basically talk about her being assaulted um by a guy, and I remember this so well. They were doing the shoot. They were in Africa,
I think
and
it was Paris, wasn't it?
no, I'm talking about the black girl.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
the model, he kept touching her, and she felt uncomfortable, and she stopped them to let them know, hey, this is like, I don't feel comfortable, can we stop? And they brushed it off and said, that's not what you do. And then when you're the one that you were speaking of, and I can't remember her name. What happened to her? They should have stopped when they saw that you had these kids who clearly had been drinking. The girl was bottling stuff with nothing on her stomach, because we did come to realize a lot of these kids were suffering from eating disorders on this show.
Facts.
Um, she was drinking all that, and what happened with her and that guy, and the fact that they recorded all of it is insane. But they did. They literally recorded this whole thing happening to her. And for Tyra to just downplay it, and when you really listen to it, when it first started out, she said that, first season, she had she was in there doing the editing and all this stuff. Her and Mr. J said it. They both said that
Hmm.
they were a part of the production. They were part of all of that. To once you fast forward to that part, you hear Tyra saying, I didn't know that happened. I didn't know these things were going on. No, out of everybody, she knew what was going on more than
You know,
anyone.
you
More
know.
than anyone, between her and the Asian guy. They knew what was going on. Everything that was happening was being reported to her.
Yep.
And I mean, she showed not one lick of accountability. She semi kind of did, but she really didn't have the sympathy for it. And what's crazy, and I think it's funny when you look back on it, is that Tyra has always, when she first started out with this show, I remember the way she promoted it was she wanted to come in and shake the modeling world because of what she experienced. But she made a big deal about how she said that Naomi Campbell treated her, how she was treated because she was a black girl in the modeling world. I remember her talking about how her brother, bullied her when she was getting like this whole thing about how, she went through all of this stuff to turn around and become a super villain towards these girls. It's like instead of her breaking the chains of all of those horrible experiences that she may experience with other models, with just being in the industry, she didn't do anything but pass that trauma on to those girls. That's
Yeah,
what
and
she
that.
did. She passed it on to them.
Yeah.
And I will say she was definitely the supervillain. But when you look at it, both of the Jays and Nigel participated. They might not have their hands on it like she did, but they were a part too.
They played their
Because if
part
they
in it.
hadn't have got fired, they would have still continued with shenanigans.
Yep.
They would have still continued with the shenanigans, no matter how they want to sit and make it seem like they was just witnessing all of it happening. And this whole excuse about, oh, it's times were different.
That's not an excuse.
Times don't justify some of the things that she did. She wanted Danielle, remember with the gap. She wanted her to change. I remember her pressuring that girl about that gap. She pressured her and pressured and pressured till she actually did do it. She did do it, and for a couple seasons later, you wanted to widen another girl's gap. There
I
are
was like,
plenty of
that's
models.
contradictive. I was like,
And then when it comes to size, remember there was that one girl, she clearly definitely was suffering from an eating disorder that was very, very shown to you. And she was like, "Oh, I think I just love it." Waistline was like this small,
you
and it was
connect
so
both of your
crazy.
hands.
Yeah, she put so much emphasis on size. They all did. They that not only was the girls in the show suffer from eating disorders, but girls that were watching it at home were creating their eating disorders because of what they were witnessing. And then the sad aspect of these models weren't really given a fair shot once they went into the modeling world because there was a stigma put on them.
Reality television.
Yeah. And then, but somebody said something that made sense. The first girl that won, which she's crazy, I can't remember her name. She did a couple reality shows afterwards, and she's like a crazy Trump supporter. I mean, she's on some other stuff, just be going.
Gone wild.
Um, she was very reckless. It was all over the place, and she helped to even push that stereotype of, well, not stereotype, that whole stigma that we don't want to deal with the next top model girls. And I mean, the sad part of Danielle being in a modeling apartment with was it Iman?
Yeah, I believe so.
um and all these girls who went off and took off had great careers, and she was just stuck there and they weren't giving her anything. And it's sad, and I know a lot of people say, well, Eva did good. Eva did, because Eva and Tyra are one and the same. They one and the same. I will go even further saying that was it Winnie Harlow? She is too. She, of course, her uniqueness, helped her see to the top. But they have the same types of personalities. So of course Eva's not going to badmouth her, but she knows that a lot of stuff went on behind those scenes. And one of the ones who was she's very popular. Oh, wish I could think of her name. She was the one who said she was the biracial butterfly. They didn't talk about her on the show, but her personality is one of the standout personalities. I can't remember if it was cycle 9, cycle 6, or what. I'm trying to think of the number, which cycle it was. She's the one who kissed the cockroach.
Mm.
I wish I knew her name. Jade. Her name was Jade. But she had such a big personality that it's crazy how you don't see her anymore. Because she basically, after the show, she kind of just fell off into, went into her private life, and she doesn't really post or show herself or make herself known because I guess that reality of what this probably did do to her, like she had star power. But to kind of shift the focus back on Tyra, when you hear Mr. J say that when he talked to her thinking, I mean, she's very manipulative because he felt like they were best friends. So when Janice used to get all crazy and stuff, he used to come to her aid. He used to come to Tyra's aid because he thought, oh, I got your back, you got my back type thing. And that's what Tyra wanted her to do because she knew that was going to play up it was going to help play up
Rating.
all the drama for those ratings.
Mhm.
But for him to try to come to her and be like, hey, I think it's time for me to, leave the show, and saying that she waited so long to then tell him, "Oh, I'm disappointed in you," and how he said he got that call from his lawyer, like, "Hey, you want to get blacklisted? You don't want to be blacklisted? You better come on back and do this next season." And for him to go there and hadn't spoke to her, and sitting there, she's acting like he doesn't exist. But as soon as the cameras come back on, oh, she is, what do you think? So yeah, she knew how to really play
I
on
think
them.
it.
She did.
I think it's very true on that subject. Is what a lot of them were saying. They was like, "You don't leave Tyra, Tyra leaves you."
Tyra leaves
And
you.
like,
Hmm.
if you do decide to leave Tyra, you'll get exactly what Jay got, and like play it up for the cameras.
Hmm.
As soon as those cameras go off, nigga, I don't know you.
Yep.
And like,
Nope. Don't
it's
know you.
just it's
He
is
was like, he was just like, wait a minute. And he was like, that's how it was from then on. And he even said how he witnessed his his impact change. Like, he did have a lot of say about a lot of things in the first couple seasons, and as it started to progress, he was just more there for entertainment. So was Mrs. J. And I mean, even with him, his story is wild because it's like you helped Tyra develop that walk.
yeah.
For him to end up having a stroke and not be able to walk, well, now he actually can walk, but go through a period of not being able to walk, and him be there for almost a year and a half, and the only thing she says is, "I'm gonna come see you." Never come see him, nothing. And now they might hear from her because of this show, but I can't think of his name. The journalist, with the glasses, he usually has his hair in an afro. And
Mhm.
he was, well, it's like a wild afro, I guess, or it's just his hair out. He was talking about, he knew who Tyra was for a long time, but he was like, the way that Netflix did it is they got Tyra. They tricked Tyra. So this whole documentary was supposed to be actually focused on Mr. J and getting back on his feet. And basically it developed into what it is now about the behind the scenes of America's Next Top Model. And they went and they interviewed everybody else. They interviewed, both Jays, Nigel. They went and got the models. They did all of that. And then they called up Tyra and they said, hey, we got this documentary. A lot of things were said, and you might want to go ahead and come on in and interview. So it's not their side versus, and you don't have any voice to it. So they set her up and she fell into it. That's why if you listen to how they would ask her a question after the question or the topic was already posed to either one of the former contestants or one of the Jays or Nigel, and when the time they got to her, it was basically her giving her response.
Yeah, and this crazy
And
thing. Notice when she was talking about Jay, he was like, "So, do you want to?" She was like, "No, I think I'll call him." Like, you ain't gonna call nobody. You
she
ain't
never
spoke
called
to
him.
that dude since you fired him. Let's just call it for what it. You
Mm-mm.
fired both of the
Uh,
J's.
And I
You
mean,
you fired
he
him.
did write a book about her behind too.
You fired Jay, Nigel, and the two J's, right?
Yeah, both. Mm-hmm.
And like the crazy thing
Well,
is,
she made it so, and then she tried to say,
we didn't have any control over it.
yeah, and somewhat of that I believe is true. What she said is because they switched once. They had switched over from being UPN to
CW.
CW, and of course, the heads do change. I do believe she could have stood up for them because at that time, if she would have stood up for them and would have said, "Hey, if you're gonna let them go, then you're letting me go too." Right? I don't think they would have been like, "All right, we're gonna do that. We're gonna let all of y'all go." Because if it's true that they thought that that was going to help boost the ratings, it just went downhill from there. It went
Yeah.
downhill from there when you took all of them off, and it was Tyra. And if you think of some of her shenanigans she was doing, I mean, I had long by that time stopped watching it, but just seeing some of the clips and some of the things she was doing, it was like Tyra. It's
This,
already its time has came and went to the point they ended up letting her butt go.
you want to know what I think is that the position that she was in right when they said that, like, yo, you gonna have to do some cuts. She was like, first of all, we're one of your top rated shows on
She
this
had the
network.
power. She had the
You have the
power because
power. I
after they
have the
left it
power
at
in
that.
my hands, and I say they stay.
Mhm.
And if the season be like, tell you what, we finished this one out. If they go down, and they was doing it off percentages, BS percentages, like the average
Mhm.
percentages in the show, because even if you are a top rating show, you will have a dip somewhere, and that depends on the time in the season. Of that happens with every good show. You'll have
Mhm.
that 12% or that 10% dip. That's nothing. That's the average, pretty much. And so it's like you're trying to get rid of the anchors that basically gets this show where it is because of
Mhm.
representation, how they do what they do in the show, and so on and so forth. And you want to get rid of that because once again, this is going for people that are not in the modeling industry, have no clue how it
Mhm.
works, have no clue. They're going based off of network status and what would work for this particular show. But this particular show is not like any other show. You can't
Mhm.
mesh that with that. And that's what they were thinking. And they was like, yo, nobody's safe. And I'm like, what you mean nobody's safe? I'm one of your top rating shows. And as sure as day, when they changed it, nobody wants to
It
hit
started
me.
just going. I
Went
mean,
down
to
to
the
50
point they
point
got
down
rid of Tyra
54%.
herself.
And then Tyra thinking she's safe because she created and started the show. Nah, you ain't
Mhm.
safe either. And I think that part right there was network BS. Network
But
bullshit. Because
and
of
you
the
know what's sorry.
nobody wants to admit that it was the network's president's fault for those ratings going down 54%.
Well, so now here's the thing.
And I'm
So
talking
that's
about
why I
his
said
mistake
I
with
think
getting
it
rid of the
but
Jays.
I think if you because even if you listen to the Jays talk, they said she wants everybody to believe that she didn't have a hand in that fire.
Oh yeah, she did.
So she is a part of it. So I don't think it really all falls on the guy who's the part that was over it that made that call. I think there's a lot of other things. And I mean, I feel like they could do a whole nother deeper dive into this show,
They do have a
especially how
second one.
manipulative she was because she was manipulating the whole entire thing down to when it came to setting the scene for things, she would pose certain questions to people. She would arrange a scenario. She would get them good and comfortable so they would be vulnerable and open up because they thought Tyra was looking out for them. Even when you think about the situation with her and Tiffany, how she tried to make it seem like, her whole "I'm rooting for you, we're all rooting for you" type thing. Well, no, you weren't. You was playing up on that as well. And then they said how and the reason why she flipped out was not because she cared. She flipped out because that girl was not groveling and she wanted her to grovel. She wanted her to cry. She wanted to get that reaction out of her that she had failed. And because she did not get it, that's when Tyra lost it. And you hear them say that it was so bad they had to cut it down. And remember, we all were like taken back when she was doing her. We
I was
I
like, man,
mean, it was a meme
I,
forever and a day.
first and foremost, I study theater and I can tell when somebody's BSing. And so I was sitting there like, are you serious? Like
I
you
mean,
serious right now? Like you
honey,
really
that
trying to,
bob was
and she
moving.
kept going and
I
I'm
remember
like,
the bob just going.
and
She
I
was
and she
like,
kept going and I was like, you really trying to play
mhm.
this out, ain't you? And so,
Tyra
because
flipped.
my sister used to watch it like crazy. And so I
Hmm.
was sitting there and I caught that episode and I was just like,
Like,
is
what
she
in the
really
world?
I was like, Tamika, she BS and she ain't telling the truth. She BS and she trying to play that for the
But no,
camera.
I do think she was upset. But I'm telling you what she was upset about. She was upset about the fact is the girl didn't grovel. It wasn't
Yeah.
because she really
It
cared
wasn't
about her that way.
genuine. It wasn't a
Yeah.
genuine upset that like you came this far and it's like you gave up. It wasn't that.
Mm-mm.
It wasn't that. She was trying to provoke, and I was like, "You can't try to. You saying you want to go for a 25th cycle?" I was like, "Let me tell you something. The baddies of this generation, they'll nut with you. So watch your
And
mouth."
you know what's crazy is those girls would be eliminated and they would have to go back in a hotel and sit there until the show was done.
That's the crazy part that tripped me out. I was like, "So let me get this straight. This take about 6 months
Several
or like
weeks.
how several weeks, and they can't go nowhere. They can't even contact their family or
Mhm.
nothing. The family just saw them leave, and yet they're not home. And so it's just weird because I'm like, so y'all had them just sit in a hotel room
Yeah.
for like weeks until the show was over with because they didn't
And then
want you.
Tyra didn't even come and comfort her. Like there was no like once that camera's on, Tyra was all about her girls. But as soon as the cameras went off and when you were out, she was done with them. And then for her to reach out to Danielle years later and say, "I knew what you were going through," but never once did you take the time out
Mm-mm.
to help her. None of that. And then the crazy part is Tyra, if everything was about the money to her back then, the way she missed her real true opportunity is because during that time she had so much power that she took the worst route with it. Because think about it. I remember watching, heck, I auditioned. I got forced to audition for the show.
Yeah, I was about to
My
ask. I was like, didn't you audition for this?
Yep, I did, and it was the first when I was in high school, my senior year, they kept trying to steal pictures of me because they were trying to submit it. I remember this lady; she was just like, they just wanted me to be a model then, and my mom wasn't in it. And then what happened was, I think 2 years later into college, I went with another girl who she actually is still modeling, and we went to one of the auditions, but at the time we had got there, we had kind of got there a little late, and a couple things kind of got in the way, so we really didn't get it seen like we wanted to. But it was so many girls, so many beautiful model s girls, and you think about how there were so many of these girls who wanted this that they were willing to do almost anything to get it. It was their dream, and Tyra made she created this world where you could be a supermodel, right? And instead of her trying to create a lane for them, she just basically just dangled it over their heads.
And throw them to the wolves.
Yep, because she could have probably teamed up with a lot of up and coming fashion designers and created fashion shows for these girls. She could have marketed them better, and it might have not been putting them on the cover of Italian Vogue, but it would have helped them some kind of way. But
You want to know what
that
I don't like about it? Is that from the perspective of the idea that she had for the show versus what it
mhm,
came out to. Perspective that she had for the idea of the show is that I
was
want to
change the game.
find these girls and I want to show them the genuine facts of what it goes to be a model and show them how to maneuver through these things so they know what to do and show them how to go from every perspective.
Mhm,
That was the idea, right? And the reality came like it started out as a comet. It was real bright, them first couple of cycles, and then cycle 12, like, and I'm doing this because I watched the documentary. And I was like, cycle 12, still strong, but that 12%. And then the president switched over, and then you know how a comet is bright at first and then it dims out. Cause then they started doing all these cliche nonsense that really didn't have nothing to do with modeling. It
mm-mm.
was just some nonsense.
It
And
would be.
it's
I
like,
mean,
now you just lost
she
the
would
purpose.
torture them. But even before the 12th season, like it would, in to the point that their portfolios weren't even usable
Yeah, because they
because
wouldn't even let them use the stuff that they used in the show. And
no,
I'm like,
it wasn't usable. No, they would have it, but it would be so wild and outlandish, some of it, that when they would go, it wasn't they would be like, this is a bit much. Because I remember that one where she made them run up so many flights of stairs to get to the top of a roof, and then they had to have a photo shoot, and then she critiqued them for the fact that they did not have that model look after being tired.
and
I
I'm like,
remember that. And
And the
then,
themes were ridiculous. I'm like,
like,
"You gonna have
remember
them
the
wear
seven
meat?"
deadly sins? I remember the seven deadly because it was a cool concept, right? But when you think about it, it was a girl who had just lost her best friend had died, and they made her get in that casket, knowing she was already trying to process what had happened. Then you had the one who Kel, I can't remember her name, but they put her in there as gluttony after they had been sitting here trying to make this whole thing like she was too busy eating all the time. Like,
And I'm like they kept trying to like I forgot the girl's name, but the same one that was with the African.
that's the one I'm talking about. Trying to
Okay,
make her
yeah.
seem like, yep, make it seem
And
like
like
she was
how
just
they would like do
binge
stuff
eating.
like we're gonna have you as different animals. You're gonna be the cheetah, you're gonna be the eagle, and you're gonna be the elephant. I'm like, really?
Like all like it was really mind games, like to really tear them down because instead of getting them to pull out these great pieces of work, no, you were giving them mental trauma to make them break because you were going to do what? Boost ratings if you had a girl losing her mind out there.
Yeah,
So
and I'm
it's
just
just
like
crazy.
I was like, to me, like I feel like it's messed up that a lot of the girls didn't get a fair shake after the fact because
Mm-mm.
even with them not winning, you would still have people still looking at them. I mean, personally,
Hmm.
this is what I would believe. I'm like, yeah, she may not win, but she got potential. We can work with her.
Like
You know what I'm
Yaya
saying?
did great. Like Yaya did great for herself. Like,
Yeah.
she did acting and numerous things. And I feel like Yaya had that same that Jennifer Hudson had for American Idol. She was driven that she basically carved out her own way.
Hmm.
And you could tell that a lot of those girls, it did something to them because of the fact that so many of them didn't reach out, and you haven't heard so much from them afterwards because of some of the events of the things that they experienced there. Like, I remember her trying to make both of the two girls who were Christian out to be the bad guys because they had strong Christian morals.
Yeah.
And the black girl who was bald on the first season, they had shaved all her hair off. And then she said even that they made the girls feel so horrible. And then she happened to be a lesbian. And because you have to write down all these things about you, they took that and made her basically come out. And it's not that she didn't mind it, but she felt like she shouldn't have had to been forced to do it.
Yeah.
And like with the girl who her mother had gotten shot and she was paralyzed, and then you have her do a crime scene. It wasn't the exact same spot, but to be a crime scene type of thing, and you know how that felt. It was like just a lot of psychological stuff that she was doing. But see, Tyra would justify it and be like, you have to pull it out of you and let it show in your pictures and da da da. Like she would have all these excuses. She would give a good word soup, if
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Um.
And even
Absolutely.
at the end of it, when instead of taking accountability, because instead of just saying, oh, it was the time, she could be like, you know what, I look back on it and I made a lot of mistakes. I became what I was trying to break down. I fed I fed into some things of the industry, and I did make things hard for these girls, and I do apologize. And she could have said anything but what she was saying, talking about, well, then someone's gonna hold you accountable. Like, ma'am, this isn't about the people who are watching this. This is about you.
Yeah, and the thing that trips me out is that a lot of them tried to chalk it up to the times,
The
and
times.
I'm
That was a
like,
running
I
thing.
was like, the times,
Times were
well, those
different.
times were different. It's totally different from now. I was like, that's still not an excuse. It's
Mm-mm.
not an
That's like talking
excuse.
about slavery.
That's
Like,
like talking
oh,
about
slave masters, they didn't, it was the times. They had to beat their slaves.
yeah,
That
that shit
don't make
that
it
they
right.
don't make it right and or excusable because
No,
like
like that's the crazy part. It's like there are a lot of things, and me and you talk about it before, like from looking at old 80s movies and old 90s movies, where
mhm,
some of that humor was very dark and very horrible.
yeah,
And certain things were not appropriate. But the whole thing about it is you have to take it in. So if you learn from it, that's one thing. But if you sit here and don't see anything wrong and continue to do it, honey, you are the problem. You
Yeah,
are. And I
and
mean, but
you did that 24 straight.
no,
So
well, she
clearly
didn't
you
get to do
didn't.
24 because they kicked her butt off. She did what,
Oh
about
yeah.
20 of them?
And then I'm just sitting there like, if you would have stuck to your original idea of what
She
you were
would have been
trying to do,
fine. Hmm.
I think she would have still been going. You know what I'm saying? And like it tripped me out because I'm like, she's really trying to play this off like nonchalantly and
Hmm.
all this stuff, and you're not even acknowledging the fact of one, you lied to all of the girls because you didn't give them the bare facts. You knew that doors would be closed for them in them doing this reality stuff.
Hmm.
Versus telling them like, look, I'm gonna be straight up with you. I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. You participating in this because it's something new and reality television is looked a certain type of way may close a lot of doors if you are sincerely serious about pursuing a modeling
Hmm.
career. It may close a lot of doors for y'all. So I need y'all to know this right now. I need you to know this. So if you still want to do this and you trust me to guide you through this, here's your chance. But if not, no hard feelings. You seriously want to go, you can step out now. Now that would have been totally different, right? Because you're
Hmm.
giving them a choice and you're being bluntly honest with this is something new. It's never been done before, and reality television has a aura with it that may cut you off from certain doors. So if you're really serious about this, or if you trust me to guide you to where you need to go, here's your chance. You can step off or stay here.
And then the
That right there.
sinister, but Tyra's too sinister, and it shows how sinister she is because when it comes to, I wish I could remember her name. When it comes to what happened to the girl in Paris
Hmm.
with, that incident, Tyra knowing about the incident, going there and basically scolding her about cheating, trying to give her a moral of the story. Don't feel bad, but in the same breath, don't do it. To then have the production team to watch that girl have a breakdown, telling her boyfriend all of this stuff, and have him call her out her name, and then they didn't want her to leave, and then she had to stay, like the torture you put her through, to
That
then
was
bring her,
wild.
but then bring her on the talk show, on the
And bring
talk
it
show.
up again.
Bring it up again. She said, "I never watched it." She tells her to turn her to make her watch it. That right there showed
I'm
there's no
surprised she
getting
didn't steal
around
off
it
on her.
and trying to sugarcoat it and make it seem like you were not a villain in that.
I'm surprised she didn't steal off on her because
And she did
that's
that to
still off
Corinne
worthy.
Stephens. She did that same thing to Corinne Stephens. Corinne Stephens did not want to sit and talk about. She did not want to talk about what she was. No, she did not want to talk about who she had slept with and all those things. She was trying to talk about the harsh reality of being a video vixen, and Tyra pushed all the bad stuff. But
Yep.
she did that with a lot of different things, and then she would try to sugarcoat it. And it's so funny when you remember she got fat shamed with that bathing suit thing. She went on there and made a whole scene about it. But then you were over there fat shaming these girls.
It's
You
crazy
were
work.
sitting there playing on them when it came to what they ate, to the point you had some of the girls sitting there eating pickles
Just
as a
pickles.
meal and crackers, eating it all day long. And I remember that time that girl was like, "Is that all you gonna eat?" And she's like, "Yeah, yeah, that's all I'm gonna eat."
That's some
The
crazy
one
work right
person
there.
who knew they're not a great person and never bit their tongue was what's her
What's her name?
name? Janice Dickinson. And
Yeah.
Janice Dickinson made it clear. She said, "I know I was there to play a role. I was supposed to be the bad guy, and I played my part." She even said she got a kick out of messing with Tyra. Got a kick out of messing with her. And
Well, there you have it.
when people know their people. So I
I wasn't gonna
mean,
say nothing. I was just like, yeah,
so I
you
think
know.
the big eye opener is, and we said, and we consumed it all in, and didn't think anything about it. Something that had such a huge impact to
Hmm.
be a nightmare. It was America's Next Nightmare. I mean, because that was crazy. And then for her to talk about another season, girl, please get out here. You have That was the nail in the coffin for you. Go back to Australia and get hot ice cream
Yeah,
because, yeah,
because I'm
it
like,
ain't looking so great, Tyra.
yeah,
It
I was
ain't.
like, I was like, and not, and like I said it once, and I say it again, for you trying to try that same nonsense you did with these chicks of
Hmm.
the day, they'll
And
squabble
see,
with you.
and times are different, and I think so. This is my last part on it. Is that the gift and curse of social media? And what I mean by the
Hmm.
gift and curse is the gift aspect of this. No, I start with the curse part. The curse part of it is
The
you're
internet is
putting your
forever.
life out there. You're putting your life out there for all to see, and everybody's going to have an opinion. But the good side about reality TV, not reality TV, just like social media in general, is that a lot of these girls now being models, you don't have to go through some of the rigorous stuff that those girls had to go through. I'm talking about, from the 90s and 80s, what models used to do. The industry has changed completely.
Hmm.
That you can be a reality star because was it Kendall? Kendall? It's Kendall, right? Kendall Jenner, she is one of the highest paid models now, and she literally came from the Kardashians. So the way they get discovered and their exposure is so much different now. Just like in the music industry, you don't need a record label to be pumping you out for you to get heard by millions.
Yep.
You can literally
Facts.
post 30 seconds of it on TikTok and become a
SoundCloud.
viral sensation. So that's one thing you can look at about how time has changed, and a lot of those things that those girls were facing there then, and that backlash does not exist anymore. So it's real interesting. It's real interesting to learn the dark side of it, because I would have never really thought of, like, those couple incidents that we seen that stood out, that there was no getting around justifying. But when you really dig deep into it, nah,
Yeah.
nah.
And just for me, as y'all seen this episode, I was like, I ain't really have much to say. I just had to speak on the aspect of her still fronting to this day, because I'm like,
Mhm.
it's actually shown her true colors of who she
Mhm.
is genuinely as a person.
Mhm.
And everybody wants to believe this one facade. They want it so hard to believe it, but now you see the
Mhm. That
monster
she
and the
was the.
reality that it is in this day and age. She's done a lot of people wrong,
Mhm.
and for her to think she could just ignore it and try to move past it, because like I said in the beginning, you don't leave Tyra, Tyra leaves you. And
Yep.
so if you
She
choose
sure
to
do.
leave Tyra, you'll get blackballed, or threaten to blackball, stay on the show. She don't talk to
Mhm.
you unless the camera's on,
You get some
and
manipulative.
then you get fired. So I'm like, I
Mhm.
think she did that and said, I need him back here because I want to do the firing. He's not just going to walk away. I want to do the
Mhm.
firing. And
And she let
so,
him get good and comfortable where he thought that, oh, we good.
and then,
Nope.
nope.
And
And
you
it's
heard
crazy.
you heard what Miss J said. He was like, she sent me flowers for my birthday. I knew something was up.
Yeah, like, hold
He
up,
said, he,
hold up.
you know them faces.
Yeah, them. And so it's like, and that's Miss J. I think she always knew who she was, who Tyra was, because
Yeah.
let's not forget, this is the one that taught her how to walk.
Yep. And knew
So
the
you've
industry
seen the
real
good, the
well.
bad, the ugly. It's like, I
Yes.
built you up
'Cause
brick by brick. What are you talking
mhm.
about?
So he, I feel like he looked at it as, you know what? Comes full circle. What because once they ready to throw you out, they would throw you out on the street. Because even the looks on his face was just like, I know how the industry is. I know how it works. And even, what happened to him, how you didn't think to squash things, especially when things become life and death. When there's a chance that a person may no longer be here, you would think one of your instincts was to be, I need to let go of, any animosity or any ill will I had towards them and make peace with this person. No, she didn't choose to do that. She told him, oh, yeah, I'm in LA. I'm in LA, but not, oh, I'm coming to see you. I know we had little rocky bumps here and there. But the crazy thing is, the only one who actively gave us something to see where Tyra will be acting funny directly to them was Mr. J. Was just Alex. It was just him. With him leaving, you don't hear anything about Miss J or Nigel. That was like a thing where she'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'm out to get him." Or that she would be so upset that even if she wasn't the one who really fired them, that she could have made amends with them.
Yeah, I'm just sitting there
So,
like, the math ain't mathing on certain things because for
mhm,
you to go that far and him just being like, hey, I'm disappointed in you, instead of
mhm,
being like, if it was a genuine hurt and wanting to know what's going on, what's the problem, it would have been something like, yo, can we talk before you make this decision? Like, can we have a conversation so we can figure this out and see if it can be saved? That's if it's a genuine friendship. Because if it was like me and Sweets and I said something like that, I know for a fact Sweets would have called me and been like, yo, listen, do we need to, yo, let's meet up and talk about this. Because me and you, we done been through way too much for it just to end like this. So can this be fixed? I would, and vice versa. Like, if it was any other situation like that, and that shows the difference between people that put on a facade and people that have genuine friendships with other people and don't use them or manipulate them into something so you can end it the way you want it. Because
mhm.
if you look at the play now, let's just be real about this. If you look at the play now, Jay said that he was done. She clearly saw the message, said, I'm disappointed. And then lawyers call and say, yo, look, homie, you want to get blackballed? If you want to get blackballed, this is what's going to happen. And thing with lawyers, they're going to give you the bare facts. This is what's going to happen
Mhm.
if you do
Yep.
this. So listen, come back for one cycle, not multiple cycles, just one. And so I'm like, okay, the fix is in because they want him to come back for just one cycle and then let him go. That don't make
No, they
sense.
didn't let him go. He ended up getting on several more after that.
Yeah, and so
Because they let him get comfortable to be like, well, we're gonna ride it till it's over. But I don't know. If like I said, I feel like there could be a lot more said.
yeah.
I heard someone joke and say, "Where Diddy at?" Somebody go get Diddy, cause Diddy gonna get.
What
I mean,
did he
not Diddy. 50. Somebody.
Yeah,
And
what
speaking
50
of
at?
that, I'm glad I messed up. Wait. I'm glad I messed up and I said Diddy. I meant to say that somebody go find 50. But Tyra is the same equivalence to what Diddy was doing on making the band. Same
Mm, mm,
same type of recipe, just a
mm,
different dessert. It was just a different plate because you think about some of the mind games that Diddy was playing on those people, and
mm,
we're gonna talk about his other little weird hanky pankies. But some of the things that he was doing to them, like the infamous walk to get that cheesecake, the bringing in a whole new set of guys to basically take your position, so many different things, mentally, to have them just just all over the place because this is their dream. And when you have someone and this is something that they wished for and wanted their entire life, It's that whole play of a predator. You know how they get you good and comfortable. They give you some kind of insinuate that, oh, this is it for you. This is you have that potential. You're special, and then once they're good and comfortable, you start using them as a punching bag. He did it because he would talk about when people were great performers, and then once he was frustrated with them, he would flip the script. That's the same thing Tyra was doing. Same
Mhm.
thing she was doing because all those girls thought that she was like this great big sister that was wanting them to succeed.
Yep.
And she took it and ran with it. She took that power and she was able to get good ratings out of it. She made good TV.
Yeah.
And we here thinking that, oh, once they won, they would be, lights, camera, action. When I think about it, I remember it was this one, it was I think she won the second season. And I remember seeing her one or two more times, I see her no more. And so many of them that, they just disappeared,
Yeah, and
disappeared, went back to their lives.
I believe that, like, this whole thing was like, come to the stage, but don't tell you about the trap door. You know what
Drop
I'm
you
saying?
in.
And like you're about to step on the trap door. And like, come on, come on. Okay, stop. Cheese, boom.
Boom.
And that's pretty much
Flat
what it
on their
was in
faces.
the most in the lamest terms. It's like you walking on the stage, not aware of the trap door. There's a
Hmm.
and you get in
And
front of everybody.
everybody for the whole world to see, and then gone.
And so that's my logic on it. But
Mhm.
yeah, Tyra, just
And
stay in Australia. Don't try to do no 25th one.
yeah,
It's not
leave it
gonna work out well
alone.
for you.
I mean, right now she getting sued because she tried to bring her little hot ice cream to DC and wanted to switch up the buildings, and the people are suing her for it because she breached a contract. So you gotta be careful that stuff come back to you. But I do think she probably did start with good intentions, but she did not know how to separate what the industry did to her, and instead she did it
Did the
to
same
them.
exact thing.
That's why I said I don't want to hear it. Listen,
The
Naomi Campbell is not a saint. I want to make it clear she's not a saint. But the way Tyra used to make it seem like Naomi Campbell was so horrible to her to turn around and you horrible too, girl.
and you do
You
the same exact
horrible.
thing. What type of shit?
So yeah. So I think with that said, this has been the Artist and Thinker podcast.
Peace.